This is going to be a demonstration video on how MetroLoad works. The first thing you want to do when installing MetroLoad is open up your config file. In the config file, you will get a lot of settings to mess around with. These two top settings, default Steam64 and default map, are only used in the browser. They're a way of telling the browser certain information it cannot get unless the loading screen is assigned to your server in-game. In-game, it will automatically grab the Steam details of the player joining and the map currently played on the server. However, in the browser it does not. You'll be able to modify things like the banner image, the global text color, which currently is set to white, where to align the banner, whether or not you want to display map images, which for some people they may not for some reason. You could disable that and this is how it will look. Or won't look, depending on how you modify your loading screen. You could choose whether or not to grab the map images basically directly from Game Tracker, which is useful if you do not want to upload tons and tons of images to your maps folder. The images in here can be either PNGs or JPEGs. You can choose whether or not to play music when the player joins the game, what the volume is supposed to be at, etc. You could also choose if you want to play videos directly from YouTube, aka music directly from YouTube. You do that by typing the ID that is displayed in the URL after v equals. It will look something like this. I don't know, I just typed that randomly right now, but you get the point. If you put a video here, you want to put the name of the video here. Typically, songs are uploaded to the music folder. In the music folder there are OGG files, which is what the loading screen uses as audio files. They're the only audio file that really works well with GarageMod. It seems to not like other things like MP3 or WAV files. In this folder you also want to put a TXT file with the name of the track. This is to tell the loading screen what the name of the track is, or the display name. Back to the config. In the config you have more options regarding the background. Currently it is set to display a background image. You can remove that by emptying this box. If you want to cycle through some background colors, you could do that as well by setting this to true. This is how that will look like. You can do the same thing with images if you upload your images to the backgrounds folder and set this setting to true. Just remember to have this setting set as false if you want to use background images. They may mess with each other and cause errors. You could also choose whether or not to use one color for every box, or you could simply modify the color in the box's own config. You could choose color for the loading bar and modify that according to what you want. Now I'll show you how the editing of the boxes work. In the boxes folder, as explained in the README, there will be 3 folders, row 1, row 2 and row 3. In these folders will be configs for each box. So in row 1 there will be game mode, maps and news. This is how a config for these boxes usually will look like. They are a bit different depending on what's in them, but they essentially work the same way. You can modify the color, the transparency and the size, as well as the contents, which if I modify any information in here, it will modify what's displayed in the actual box itself. You can change the arranging of the boxes by simply renaming this to, let's say, 1 and this to 2, and these 2 boxes will switch spots. You can do the same with rows if you wish to. By renaming this to row, well, I'm just going to put it to 13 for now because I'm trying to rename the box. You can't have two folder names at once with the same name. Here you go. Now row 1 and row 2 is switched spots. This is typically how the editing of the boxes work with MetroLoad. Oh, you just saw me make a mistake there. You can mess around with this and create your own, oh my god, create your own nifty loading screens.